I messed up badly in the past, especially in the beginning. I've made mistakes that cost me both my health as well as gains. Now, this does not mean I have not made significant progress in the gym. I've probably put on over 15 kilograms of muscle in just the past 3 years of lifting. But if you want to avoid unnecessary setbacks, here are 5 of the worst mistakes I made, and stick around till the end, as the last one might surprise you. First up, I did not prioritize rest and recovery. While some of us can't imagine going to the gym for more than 1 or 2 times a week, once you start going and you start seeing the progress, it becomes a habit. Once I solved the issue of not going to the gym, the tables turned and my biggest problem became going too much. After a few weeks of training when I first started, I started going every single day for like 3 months, 7 days a week, doing cardio and weightlifting. You see, I thought more was better, but it wasn't. Your muscle grows when you rest, not when you train. And so if you're constantly destroying that muscle and you're not giving it time to repair, you're just not going to see the gains you should. And in no time, you're going to be plateauing and your strength will just dip. Adding just 1 rest day at the start in that week made a huge difference. I was able to perform better and I was stronger. Oh, and before I forget, it's not all about just rest days. It's also about the volume you do in that week. So I would do a ton of volume, doing a ton of sets and reps thinking, yep, this is good. But it's not. If you want to do well in the gym, anywhere from 10 to 20 sets for each muscle group is really good. You might even want to do less sets on some muscle groups and more on others, just feeling it out as you get more in tune with your training. And for rep ranges, well, anywhere from like 4 to I think like 50 reps is really good. But I recommend lower rep ranges from like 5 to 10, as I just feel better and more in tune with the training that way. You can experiment and just feel it out. Whatever works for you is best for you. Also, I found it best to split up my workout, training different muscle groups on different days, which allowed me to rest one muscle group whilst I trained the other one, and I could train more days in a week instead of just doing full body every other day, which I didn't quite like. My favorite routine became push-pull legs, which I absolutely love. Oh, and before I move on, don't forget to sleep. Sleep is probably the #1 underrated recovery tool. A lot of muscle synthesis actually occurs when you're in deep sleep. And you know, given the fact I was in university when I started lifting, my sleep was kind of not a priority, kind of messed up a lot on that. And so guys, if you want to get bigger, stronger, or even smarter, just sleep more. #1 advice. Now, my second lifting mistake on this list is actually my biggest regret. And that is I sacrificed good form for heavy weight, also known as ego lift. It is a surefire way to injury, and oh my god, I can't tell you enough how much I regret not putting more effort into my form. Within just a few months of lifting, I kind of twisted my shoulder during a shoulder press, which ended up in a small injury. It wasn't severe, it was pretty fine, it healed within a few weeks, didn't have any shoulder issues after that, but it was scary and it was just a small glimpse of what was to come, really, from doing bad form. If I was just a little bit smarter, I might have avoided a whole bunch of injuries in the future. And that is kind of what happened. I went skiing one day, and because of me being stupid and overtraining, doing too many exercises, going heavy, and kind of slowly chipping away, I fell down whilst I was skiing. I don't even know when it happened, but in the afternoon when I got to bed, my shoulder just hurt so bad. It was horrible. And the next few weeks, I couldn't even lift my shoulder above my head, like in a tricep extension kind of. It's just shoulder impingement of some sort. It was absolutely awful. The worst pain ever, and not because of the physical pain, but because I couldn't do many of the exercises I wanted. I still went to the gym, stupidly. I had to work around it somehow. I could kind of move my arm above my head if I kind of like rotated it around, but it was just bad. Ton of recovery, just doing stretches and stuff. It worked out, but to this day, my shoulder has not healed. And it's not even the worst injury, because 2 years into my training, I ended up injuring my back on deadlifts. Probably herniating a disc. It's not too bad. I still deadlift, and I've worked around it. And you know what? It's a good thing after I injured my back on that day that I, rested. No, I didn't. I ended up doing more deadlifts and Bulgarian split squats after that. Like an absolute idiot, probably worsening the injury, definitely creating more inflammation, and just just proving how stupid I was, even though, I don't know how I went to university with my brain. It's just something wrong with me. Why would I train when injured? I don't know. I did a huge mistake, don't do that. And the stupidest thing is, I was actually ill and I felt the fatigue. I felt my back rounding on the sets before that injury. So it was all my mistake. I knew I shouldn't have been lifting. I just wanted to get that extra rep, which, caused an injury. So for this, don't be like me guys, listen to your body, do correct form, don't go too heavy, especially when you're ill or tired, and just take care guys, because if you get injured, it might not go away ever. So take that into account, don't make this mistake.
They don't know me, son! Get it! 18! They don't know me, son! Get it! 19!
Number 3 on this list is, well, what is it? Number 3 on this list, I didn't track my lifts. Not the biggest mistake, but still essential if you want to progress. And a lot of people quickly learn on it, which I did as well. Within a few months of training at the very beginning, I started to track my lifts. The goal was to improve over time, gaining more weight and more reps. This process called progressive overload is the best way to get bigger and stronger. If you consistently improve your lifts, you will consistently improve your physique. Easy as that. Not to mention the dopamine hit you get from hitting PRs and actually tracking them, because you know what weight and what reps you hit last time, is amazing. It just makes you want to push that much harder at the gym, which is essential if you want to stay consistent and keep going. Oh, and same applies to weight goals. If you want to gain or lose weight, nothing better than a scale to track your progress. And if the scale isn't changing the way you want after a few weeks, you know you need to implement some changes. Number 4, I think a lot of us can relate to, especially if your site is asking for help or trying new things. I avoided new exercises, especially at the beginning, because I didn't want to look like an idiot. But reality check, no one cares. Most people are too focused on themselves in the gym, and the few that do pay attention usually just want to see you improve or help out. This fear or anxiety just held me back from trying exercises that could have benefited my physique and lifting goals. And if there's an exercise you do want to try out but you don't know how to do it, don't be afraid to ask for help or look up a YouTube tutorial. Nothing wrong with that. After all, correct form and exercise variety helps you gain a ton more muscle and hopefully, well, avoid injury, which, as we know from the point above, I suck at. So don't be shy and don't leave gains at the table, guys. Oh my god, how do you not be shy? I don't even know.
Giving out advice you don't follow yourself.
If you're free,
then you still haven't asked
focused
to ask about the price of the membership.
Yeah. Okay, now we are on to the big one. The biggest mistake I made when I started lifting was listening to fitness influencers. Okay, I know how it sounds. There's a lot of good advice out there, don't get me wrong. But on the internet, there's a ton of wannabe fitness influencers who will just say the first thing that comes into their mind to get clicks.
One of the finest food groups.
Also probably going to be paying $30 for that meal.
I've got a roof now and it is fantastic.
They might not even do it on purpose. They might even be convinced that what they say is true. But don't be fooled by their physique, good looks, and the way they talk. They could still be talking absolute rubbish. The issue here is something called confirmation bias, which means if you have a sick physique, you must know what you're talking about when it's related to fitness and health. And that is just not true. Most people don't know what they're talking about. For example, genetics and steroids play a huge role in determining someone's physique and strength. And so the advice that works for them, for the average lifter, might not be the best. In fact, at best, it might be just alright. And so take all the information on the internet with a pinch of salt and don't trust anyone, even me. Well, you can trust me, of course. No cap. 100%. I'll give you some basic tips in a second so you don't fall for some of that awful advice out there. But first up, if you're interested in some of the fitness influencers I'd recommend you watch, here's a list I made. Coach Greg Doucette, Jeff Nippard, Dr. Mike from Renaissance Periodization, and if you're looking for something more entertaining and less science-based, Will Tennyson and Jesse James West is probably the guys I'd suggest. They're epic, pretty funny, and their content is usually peak. All the guys I listed helped me out a lot, and I still watch their videos today to just check out and compare notes to what I know from my years of training. And whilst Coach Greg does want to sell you every single supplement under the sun, he's a pretty stand-up guy. Although I think he and Mike Israetel are into a kind of like battle between each other. I don't know. I think it's over though. I think they squashed the beef. I don't know. Either way, really good, smart, very smart, clever guys. And if you see Coach Greg, he's absolutely jacked. The other dude's jacked, so they must know what they're talking about, right? They do though, they do. Now, there is a lot more fitness influencers, and if you want me to create a tier list of who I think is the best fitness influencer down to the worst, let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to do that in another video. For now, let's get back to some of the tips I promised you guys so you don't fall for the same things I did when listening to the fitness influencers out there with the bad advice. Diet. When it comes to diet, there's only two things that matter: calories and the macros. Macros being carbs, fats, and protein. Now, how much protein should you eat? 300 grams a day. No. You don't need that much protein. Anywhere between like 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein is a lot, and you will grow very optimally from that. This just ensures you will be building muscle and recovering from your workout. Fat loss, it's calories in, calories out. No magic diet needed. If you aren't losing weight, then you're not in a deficit. Start counting calories for a week, take the average and remove 500 calories by either eating less or exercising more. This is what you'll need to lose half a kilogram a week, a decent and sustainable pace. And if your goal is to gain weight, you do the opposite. Finally, have you ever heard of abs in 50 minutes? Well, even I followed dumb influencer ab workouts aimed at getting you shredded and seemingly promising you a six-pack in record time. Reality check, abs are made in the kitchen. So if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. But if you put the work in and follow these simple tips, you will see results. Just don't fall for any of those magical promises made online through social media, etc., which are just magical. Finally, some good news for beginners or people that have never trained properly. Your body is extremely adaptive. You just pick up a weight and you will grow. So even if you make these mistakes, which I did, you will still see really good results. On top of this, add tracking, resting properly, and training smart, and you will see insane results. Most people can't even recognize the body after 6 months if they do this properly. If you want more training tips, hit that sub button and let me know what your biggest mistake was in the comments. Also, check out this video here where I didn't sleep for 24 hours. Thank you guys for watching.